Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Do you know what the secret of life is?
No, what?
This.
Your finger?
One thing. Just one thing.
That's great, but what's the one thing?
That's what you gotta figure out.
What if I told you it's not about the money? Stay tuned and we'll find out more.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, Tony Walker.
If you got it, you don't need it. If you need it, you don't got it. You don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do. Them that have it, get more of it. The less they need it, the more they love it. And it sticks to them like glue. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.
The movie City Slickers. The scene, one of my favorites of all time, featuring a 40-year-old city slicker, played by Billy Crystal, who takes off to a dude ranch trying to discover the meaning of life, only to encounter a crusty old cowboy played by Jack Palance, who shares this simple yet prophetic advice to figuring out life that's for you to figure out. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. I am that little man in the sweater vest, the author and creator of the Worry-Free Retirement, Tony Walker, along with America's favorite financial sidekick, Aaron Orander. Aaron, how are you doing today, my friend?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Well, you know, the change of weather and all that, I think, you know, I told you I was diagnosed with allergies. You remember I was having all these problems a couple months ago? My doctor,
Yeah.
I went to all these doc in the boxes and taking antibiotics, couldn't get better, and he said, Tony, you're allergic to something. So I took some medication, got better. Well, here I am again. I traveled this past week. Then we got the change of, so anyway, but I'm fighting through it. How's my voice sound? Do I sound lovely as usual?
You're sounding okay.
Okay. Well, have you ever seen City Slickers?
Oh, yeah, I love that movie.
Oh, gosh.
It's
I think it's
hilarious.
a classic. Well, if you watch that scene again, in fact, let's just play that audio again, because this really sets up the show really well today. So let's play that audio again, Aaron.
Do you know what the secret of life is?
No, what?
This.
Your finger?
One thing. Just one thing.
That's great, but what's the one thing?
That's what you gotta figure out.
All right, so that's, you know, it's the old question for you to figure out, and for savers defined as those who are more concerned about the return of their money than on it. That's what this show is, to help savers figure out how to use and enjoy and protect their hard-earned money. We're also going to intertwine in our show to try to help us understand this topic of clarifying our vision for the future. What is it we want? We're going to start kind of introducing different inventions that have come along. And Aaron, I know you're a handy little fellow there, and you're always dealing with technology, so you might appreciate this. But if you had to say, okay, Tony, going back in time, as far back as you could think, what do you think has been the most powerful invention, the first major invention ever? I'm talking way back. What would you say?
First invention ever?
That transformed society.
The wheel.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, usually we never guess the same thing, and I have to mouth the answers to you. That's exactly what I thought. Okay, keep going. So let's think about the cavemen.
All right.
I'm picturing these guys trying to haul wood around. They got 4 or 5 logs. They have to walk for miles. So the guy that invents the wheel puts it on the wagon, and you can haul all kinds of wood, right? Isn't that cool?
Right.
Keep going. What do you think the next one was?
Oh, the next
This
one.
thing comes to mind. What would be the next great and that transformed society?
Probably the airplane.
Airplane? Okay, see, I'd go even farther back. I went back to the printing press.
Okay.
Books. Think about that.
Books,
People used to have, guys with penmanship trying to write something, Dead Sea Scrolls or whatever. So we got books. So let's just kind of keep moving there. I got the printing press. What else did I think about? Radio. We're doing a radio show.
Yeah.
I've got a 1943. I think you've been to my house. Did I show you that 1943, that huge Philco radio?
Yeah.
And, we're recording this show, folks, on April 2nd, 2019 in Louisville, Kentucky in our studios. And on that dial, I don't know if you remember this, Aaron, on the radio dial, it's got WHAS radio, Wave radio.
Wave
so back
radio,
then you
yeah.
could flip it over, and they
Right.
already had them. So you could contact Philco apparently, tell them where you lived, and they would put on the radio dial the stations that were in your area. Isn't that pretty cool?
Neat.
WGN out of Chicago, I think, so on there. But anyway, so you got the radio, TV,
Oh, yeah.
and then what do you think I'm holding in my hand right now? You would call that?
Oh, your cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, golly, who would have ever thought that right now, even somebody listening to this show could get on their cell phone and say, yeah, I want to listen to that clip on City Slickers myself, type in a few words and find that same video or whatever. Isn't
Well,
that-
you know, they say that the first iPhone ever built had more technology in it than like some of the spaceships in the 60s, you know, that like went around the moon and stuff. They say there's more in these phones than there was in some of those spaceships.
That's incredible. So in some ways, though, Aaron, I would argue, let's stay with the cell phone a minute. In some ways, that might be one of the worst inventions ever, and here's why. In my humble opinion, right now, okay, with the cell phone, the problem is it actually connects you to all of the outside world, meaning all of these opinions come flooding in.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. And I think because there's so many opinions on what life should be about, how to spend money, it's kind of like Jack Palance says, there's only one thing, but that's for you to figure out. So the problem is we have so many options and so much research and things we can do. I think, personally, I think that can actually lead to confusion. So here we are, folks. We're speaking of somebody like myself that's worked in the financial trenches for 35 years. We're trying to tell people to use and enjoy the money. I've seen this firsthand, Aaron. I haven't met anybody that has a lot of money that can admit that the money itself has made them more happy and content. Just the money. I'm just about the money. In fact, my favorite theologian, Charles Spurgeon, said about money, it's a funny thing. Those who have it worry with it. Those who have none worry without it. So money, folks, I don't care whether you don't have you know what to tinkle in or you've got boatloads of money, it will create worries. Money, though, is part of the journey. It's not the destination, but certainly it's part of the journey, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is how can we safeguard this money? How does the worry-free retirement process help us do that? Actually, as much as I've talked about the worry-free retirement process, Aaron, we've been doing this show for years, I don't think I've ever taken a deep dive into what this process is all about. Do you remember me doing this? I don't think I have I?
I don't know if you've done a deep dive.
Yeah, so what we're going to do for the next 5 weeks, including today, is week 1. The Worry-Free Retirement basically has 5 steps, folks, and this is what we use in our practice to help savers worry less about money. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into a deep dive, and we're going to first talk about the first step, which is clarify your vision. So when we come back, I'm going to go into this. This is going to be some interesting stuff, and it's going to help you, hopefully, kind of understand more about money, the meaning of money for you personally, not me or anybody else, but what you want to happen with your money and how to use, enjoy, and protect it. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a buyout? Has a company you work for recently moved or been acquired or closed its doors forever? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k to safer territory. Why continue to risk your hard-earned money when you don't have to? Let's meet in person today to discuss your retirement options. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your no-obligation appointment to meet with me in person. Do it today. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. We're getting ready to take a deeper dive into this 5-step process I created years ago called the Worry-Free Retirement. And before I get into this, though, I've shared this story with you before, and I think this helps a lot, Aaron. A gentleman and I were talking about just choices we make, and he shared the story of a man traveling in the state of Vermont, who apparently was totally lost. This was obviously before cell phones or navigation because he couldn't get on his cell phone to find out where he was. But anyway, as he's driving down the road, he knows he's got to be heading in a certain direction, but he can't get towards that direction. The road he's on keeps taking him away from his destination. So he notices this rural road, this old dirt road, and he says, wait a minute, that road's heading in the right direction. So he turns off the main road onto this rural road, and there's a sign that says, choose your ruts carefully, you'll be in them for the next 20 miles. Kind of interesting, isn't it? So the moral of that story is, Aaron, the choices we make today will affect the future. So this idea of having a vision of what you want in retirement before you retire, not retire and go, okay, now what am I supposed to do? The idea is we don't want you to get in a financial rut. So we want to choose those ruts carefully, because once you retire, folks, if you really do call it quits, that's it. Now, about 15 years ago, I authored a book, started working on a book, and I came up with the concept of this notion of the worry-free retirement. Really, it was born out of just watching my granddad over the years retire worry-free with his mailbox money, his pension, but he called it mailbox money, his very, very low-key lifestyle. And I noticed he never worried about money. So I thought, gosh, that would be so cool if I could create a process that could help savers who had the same mentality like my granddad, just help them enjoy their money, not worry about it. And again, it would even be really nice if we could somehow get them some of this mailbox money instead of having all their money at risk in the stock market. So I'm going to go over the 5 steps of our process, all right? The first step is clarify your vision. That's what we're going to talk about some today, and I'm going to show you how to clarify your vision in terms of your investments so you can protect them better. The next step when you meet with me, you'll be going to what's called the assessment step. That's step 2. Where I will take that information from you. What we do at the first appointment during the Clarify Your Vision is I have to see everything. I have to see a copy of your tax return. I need to see your investment statements. Sometimes people come in, they'll go, well, why do I have to give you my investment statements? Well, I have to know cost basis. I need to know whether it's an IRA or a non-qualified account. I need to know whose name it's in. I mean, this stuff can get really complicated, and we have to have as much detail as we can to provide the assessment. Now, the beauty of working with somebody like us, there's no cost or obligation. You're not required to turn all of your money over to us in order to get a free written game plan. A lot of advisors won't do this. I know you've heard me talk about this, Aaron, but they won't even give you anything until you move your money over, which that's kind of odd. What we do is we give you the written game plan, and then you can take that and study it. Now, if you say, hey, Tony, let's tweak it, or let's do this, or I want to move forward, then what we will do is help you implement the game plan. That's step number 4, and that's really critical because we have such good staff that can help us along. For instance, something that comes up a lot, people want to roll their 401ks over to us, and they've never rolled a 401k. You think about it, you retire once, right? Well, so this is a brand new thing. Where do you roll it to? Who can you trust? Are there fees? Are there taxes if you do it wrong? So in that example, Connie Fortney in our office, for instance, she's our rollover specialist. She's done literally probably over 1,000 of these, so we've run into about everything imaginable. So whether you're 59 and a half, you've been terminated, you've got an old 401k that can be rolled over, you just retired, you're a federal worker with a TSP, it doesn't matter. We've got a wealth of experience of knowing how to roll those over properly. But that would be implementing, Social Security analysis, etc. All of those things helping you determine when to take Social Security, survivor benefits, all those things, again, we can help you with in the implementation. And then finally, the 5th step of our process, which I did a bunch of these yesterday. I don't know if you noticed a lot of people coming and going in the office here, and I bet half the appointments I had were clients. So what we call that in the 5th step, that's called the monitor your progress. So what we offer our clients anytime they want to come in and talk, and usually these are triggered by changes. So maybe yesterday I'm thinking of some of them out loud. One lady and her husband came in. She's getting ready to retire. He's already retired, so that's a new, what we call trigger point. That's a totally new change. So there was another one, let's see, another person was coming up on 70 and a half. 70 and a half is the age at which you have to take your minimum distributions. So again, that was a monitor your progress, and we help them set that up. So again, those are the 5 steps. We have the clarify your vision, assess your situation. We then create a written game plan to help you worry less about money. If you want us to follow through and work with us, we will help you do all the implementation. Again, in most cases, there's absolutely no cost for us to move money over into our process and handle all this. And then finally, you're comforted, I guess, for lack of a better word, in knowing that you've got a full-service retirement planning firm that is there. I'm here available to you, plus our staff, which is well-trained, to help with just about any financial matter that comes up in retirement. All right, when we come up, we've got an interesting Tony in the Trenches for you, and then I'm going to share with you something I know many of you know that I'm a big fan of annuities, but we're going to share with you a little bit about Thomas Edison. We're back on inventions, and an invention that came up in the late 90s in my world that allows you to have your cake and eat it to hopefully a real light bulb moment. Pun intended there, Aaron, you like that? Light bulb moment is going to be coming your way in just a second. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'll be right back.
Tired of the roller coaster ride of the stock market? Let Tony Walker show you how to smooth out the ride with your money. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
And now it's time for Tony in the Trenches.
Our Tony in the Trenches comes from Virginia. She lives just outside Louisville. I met with her recently, and she asks, Tony, I'm contemplating retiring from work now. I'm only 53 years of old, but I have a very nice 401k and a lump sum pension totaling around $1 million. I have no debt, very little expenses, so I talked to an advisor about retiring now. Keep in mind, Virginia's only 53. And the advantages of taking advantage of something called a 72T election. But the advisor said that that 72T election is way too complicated for him to work with and just suggested I keep working till 55. Tony, can you weigh in on this? Because I want to retire now, and whether a 72T is that complicated. Well, this is a great question, and it's a tax question, actually. A 72T election basically allows anybody to retire prior to 59 and a half, move money into an IRA, and if it's taken out properly, they don't have to pay what's called the excise tax. So, you know, in the essence of time, gosh, remind me, Aaron, this could be a whole show. It really could, just 72 Ts, literally. But anyway, long story short, we have done 72 Ts. We are very familiar with them, and therein lies the problem. We are retirement specialists, folks. We know the tax angles, we know the Social Security angles, we know how to work with securities, annuities. We are a full-service firm, so what happens is you're going to run into people who are holding themselves out as doing retirement planning and quite frankly do not have the experience. And in this case, this is a huge decision. This person, because they don't understand 72 Ts, is basically telling Virginia just to keep working. So if you're sitting there right now and you would like to just sit down and review your situation to see when you might be able to retire, look at the taxes involved in retiring. We are well equipped to do that. The best thing to do is just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on that Let's Get Started, and we will make that happen very soon. TonyWalkerFinancial.com. All right. This has been a show that's bounced back and forth between clarifying your vision and inventions, but they really do go hand in hand. I think one of the greatest inventors ever. Who would you say is the greatest inventor ever? Who comes to mind, Aaron? I said earlier, light bulb. Come on.
I would say, Thomas Edison.
Yeah. Thomas Edison. Okay. There's a great book. You ought to read this, actually, Aaron. I know Matt's in here today. Matt's got kind of a business mind. It was written by Blaine McCormick. It's literally about Thomas Edison, and it's called At Work with Thomas Edison. But it's business practices of Edison. Edison was a great promoter. He was a great visionary. So we're talking about clarifying your vision. And what Edison's whole motto was, Edison said, I'm not going to invent anything unless I think it can impact hundreds of thousands or not millions of people. So let's think about the light bulb a minute. What was before the light bulb, Aaron? How did people see?
Candles.
Yeah. What
torches.
Else? Yeah, torches, kerosene lanterns.
Lanterns, yeah.
Okay. So those provided good sources of light. What's the problem with a candle back in the 1800s and early 1900s and kerosene lanterns? What can happen to those?
They're going to catch fire. They could take your barn out, You
ever hear of the Chicago Fire, 1871?
Oh, yeah.
Well, nobody really knows how that got started. Apparently, I was looking that up, but sadly it killed nearly 300 people, destroyed over 100,000 homes. This poor old guy named Mr. Leary had a barn nearby where they think it got started, so they blamed Mr. Leary's cow on kicking over a lantern. So can you imagine Mr. Leary, him going out in public? That was probably scary. 100,000 people waiting around the corner for you, and your cow. I'm sure the cow was butchered quickly. So bottom line, though, what Edison saw was, wait a minute, this is a good source of light, but this light is very dangerous, right? Kerosene lanterns, candles. So his idea was, why can't I create something safe that provides even more light? And he visualized the light bulb, and today, here we go, we got light bulbs everywhere. So because of Thomas Edison's ingenuity, his vision of the future, his idea, and this is what we're focusing on in just a minute, his idea of relevance but safety and security. So one of the things with the worry-free retirement, people say, but Tony, what's the difference between you and, let's say, some big Wall Street firm? The worry-free retirement starts with safety and security. Safety and security. So what was invented back in the late 90s, something I didn't have available to me when I used to manage money in the early 90s, was something called a fixed indexed annuity. And to me, hopefully a light bulb's getting ready to go off in your mind financially as I get ready to explain this product. But basically what the insurance industry said is, hey, what if there were a way to get some stock market returns? Again, you're not going to keep up with the stock market when it's roaring. We don't mean that. But how can we kind of participate in the stock market? So how can, here's what the insurance industry said, how can we create a product that can make good returns but have zero risk? Okay, so let's end our analogy here. Let's say the stock market provides wonderful light, great light, but it's kind of like those candles and those kerosene lanterns, right? They can get kicked over real quick and burn something down. So what we did was we went back in time. These are actual numbers, folks. I'm not making this up. I did pick some bad years in the stock market intentionally just to show you what can happen, just to show you old Betsy the cow kicking over the milk or whatever is going on. All right, so we go back to 1998. What we're going to do, or imagine you rolled over your 401k in 1998. Option A, you're going to put it in the stock market. Option B, you're going to invest it in a fixed indexed annuity, this new product that was introduced that participates in the stock market. Again, it's not technically in the stock market. So we fast forward 1999, the stock market did very well. It did almost 20%. And the fixed indexed annuity, this is called a crediting method. I'm not going to get into detail with that, but the fixed indexed annuity that year credited a percentage of the stock market. In this case, it was around 45%. So you would have made in the indexed annuity 8.79%. So let's summarize. In 1999, you're 160 with the stock market, grows to 192. With the fixed indexed annuity, you're at 174. And you say, well, maybe I should have been in the stock market. That wasn't a great return compared to the stock market. Well, let's fast forward to 2000. The market went down 10%. So your 192 overnight is now down to 172. Take a guess. The prior year, the index annuity is at 174. It participates in the market, Aaron, but let's say the market crashes down 10%. How much would you lose?
Nothing.
Good. Nothing. In fact, you'd still have your floor of 174. We call this sleep insurance. Let's go to 2001. It happened again. The market went down about 13%. If you're in the stock market, your 172 goes to 150, right? The kerosene lantern's been kicked over. The fire's starting to roar a little bit. It's consuming more and more of your property. The fixed indexed annuity, since it's not really in the stock market, is still at 174. Pretty cool, huh? Still ahead 24,000 now. It gets even worse. Again, folks, do I think the market's going to go down 3 years in a row like it did in 2000, 2002? I don't know that, but it did it, right? It happened, Aaron, okay? This is a fact. 2002, this was after 9/11, it goes down 23%. So now your 401k is almost a 201k. It's down to 114. You still have your highest average of 174 in the fixed indexed annuity. Now you say, well, yeah, but didn't the market go up? It went up a great deal. In fact, in 2003, it went up 26%, so your value did go back up to 145. But the good thing about the fixed indexed annuity, it goes right back up. We made 11% since it's participating. It's up to 195, and then finally, just to summarize this, in 2004, the market went up again, 9%, which brings your stock market total up to 155, but now the fixed indexed annuity, based on these same examples, is up to over $200,000. So here's the point, folks. As you're trying to visualize retirement, if you're a saver, you have to visualize an environment. That's really what we're talking about, is the environment your money is placed in. Think of that kerosene lantern out there. It's safe. There's nothing wrong with the kerosene lantern, but if old Betsy or somebody accidentally knocks it over and happens to be in a barn with hay on the floor, it's going to catch fire. So we don't know when the stock market's going to have its next plunge. We don't know when there's going to be something in the economy that affects that. But if you're retired, our question to you is, how much risk do you really want to take in the market when there's now a different, newer form of light bulb? Something is more safe and secure, and that would be a fixed indexed annuity. Now, we do have a nice booklet about this. A lot of people have said, well, Tony, I've kind of Googled around this annuity stuff, and I don't know, I see a lot of bad press about annuities. How come you love them so much? Well, one reason we've done them so long. We've written over 20, Connie just gave me an updated sheet on this the other day. We've done over 2,600 annuities, so we know these products. We've used them a long time. We know which products are right for savers and which ones are not. And I would just encourage you to go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and download, it's called the Annuity Decision Guide for Savers. Now, if you're not at a computer and you just want to give us a call, we'll send you a hard copy too. Again, it's TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You scroll down to the Annuity Decision Guide for Savers or call us at 877-499-9255 and just tell us you would like a hard copy of the Annuity Decision Guide for Savers. All right, kind of running out of time. When we come back, I'm going to share with you a little offer we've got, just kind of a free offer for a free book, The Worry-Free Retirement. You stay tuned. I'll be right back. What if there was a financial product that could guarantee an income you could never outlive? A product that is not at risk in the stock market? Well, there is, and it's called an annuity. And for the past 34 years, I've personally helped thousands of savers secure over $300 million of annuities. So why risk your hard-earned money when you don't have to? Let's meet in person to see if an annuity is right for you. Log on today to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Are you retired or retiring soon? Can you afford for your money to take a hit with the stock market being so volatile these days? Nobody can time the market, but having a retirement game plan with Tony Walker Financial gives you peace of mind and sleep insurance. Learn how to prevent losses in your retirement accounts and plan your retirement around an income you can never outlive. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com today to schedule a personal meeting with Tony to secure your hard-earned money. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Speaking of printing presses, I've written several books, and the Worry-Free Retirement, actually, I was just looking at when this was actually first published. I thought it was earlier than this, but I think what threw me off a little bit, this was 2006. Prior to this, I don't know if you know this, Aaron, my first book ever was called Perfecting Your Walk in Retirement. Have you seen that book laying around?
Yeah, I've got a copy of it somewhere around here.
That was really this same book. So
right.
If you go, you're going to be really PO'd if you go to the internet and buy Perfecting Your Walk and Worry-Free Retirement, because it's the same galley. But the reason I changed it, and Matt, you'd appreciate this, years ago we had a webinar advertising Perfecting Your Walk, and I literally had a guy go through the webinar, and his question was about exercise in retirement. He thought it was an exercise. Oh, I'm kid you not. I thought, this is the worst job of branding I've ever done. People, I thought, no wonder it's not selling. They think it's an exercise book. So what I did was I kind of purposed the book. That's when I came up with the Worry-Free Retirement. But what we're going to do, now again, we've got quite a few listeners on the radio show right now. For the first 5 callers, you have to call on this to get a copy of a free book. I'll sign it, autograph it, the Worry-Free Retirement. You got to call. First 5. You'll get a free copy of the book. You are going to have to leave your name and address so we can mail it. Just call 877-499-9255. That's 877-499-WALK. You'll go directly to Tony Walker Financial. Just tell them you want a copy of the free book. Again, the first 5 callers will mail that to you. And I hope that'll be of help to you. Well, we've enjoyed being with you today. So again, we're covering the 5 steps of the Worry-Free Retirement. Next week on the show, we're going to go to step number 2, how to assess your situation. So again, folks, there's 3 halves of life. We're going to bring that assessment into the first half, halftime, and second half. So no matter what your age, we're going to help you assess where you are and how to better prepare for retirement. We've enjoyed being with you. You remember, though, between now and next week, between now and the next time we share some information with you, if all else fails, you be worry-free.
Got it, you don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.